Cannot believe it. Season 2 of Shakras and Shit, a playful look at spirituality, is here upon us. Lima Love Schneider, what did you think of the introduction we just heard?
I just heard just recording. That's all I heard. I didn't really I don't know what
It's a trick question. I don't have an introduction because it's a low budget podcast.
I was like, I'm like, is this a trick question? Because I didn't know the answer. Yeah, so definitely a trick question.
Oh, it's so good to talk to you. You're one of my favorite people. Hi, you're one of my favorite people on earth. I just have to just come right out and say that.
Thank you so much, Brent. That's very kind of you to say that. Aw.
It's true though. You and I met at the beginning of a very important journey in my life, and I just want to kick off season 2 by saying thank you, because in this podcast wouldn't have been possible if I hadn't met people like yourself and in places like Bali. So when I met you, it was this just incredible spiritual energy, this beautiful woman who was flowing through life, who had her eyes on the prize, but was okay with the ride. And I met you at the very beginning of a big spiritual journey for myself. And I'm just honored to call you a friend. Welcome to the show, Lisa Marie Schneider.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
When we met, it was a very auspicious day. It was 11. It wasn't it 11? No, what was 11? There was something about the 11s.
It was 11. That's right. It was, we met in, sorry, my screen's screwing up here. We met in early November. It was probably like November 8th or 9th. And we had gone to that little dinner with Chad and Joanna, who was a guest on season 1. And a few days later, that was when I really felt connected to you. It was 11/11, and you invited me for breakfast with Trip and
Morgan.
And the 4 of us just went, and we had the healthiest food I've ever had in my life at 11/11 on 11/11. And then the day continued. We did our little Bali thing. And then that night, yourself, me, and John Miller went to Bali Dacha for our 11/11 p.m. on 11/11. So 3 11/11s in one day.
You did I remember you having your first ecstatic dance experience with me as well. And I'll never, ever forget the visual I have of you wearing my blue wig. And it was like the first time you're experiencing this kind of sober dance experience. For those of you who don't know ecstatic dance or have never done it before, it's basically like a club, but with no alcohol, and just a lot of people very high on life and at a very high frequency with incredible music. And you were literally, I've never seen anyone more in the element. You were like, so you had my blue wig on. I have a collection of a lot of different colored wigs. And you took my turquoise wig, and there you were just dancing away, like totally in love. You just kept looking at me like, oh my God, is this really happening? Like, and you were like talking to yourself, and you were just, it was an amazing thing to witness, actually, because for me to experience that with somebody for the first time, because it is so amazing. You know, the dance in Bali is part of the reason why I moved here, you know, and it was I'll never forget. I still can see it so clearly. Like, you were literally on the stage. You'd like stepped onto the stage, and you were like, ah, it was amazing in this wig.
And we have these super cool selfies that you and I took on, you know, because we played dress up that night and then scootered down to Bali Dacha. And that's just Bali life, right? You're just in flow.
Yeah, it is. It's actually, it kind of feels like a lot of Peter Pans are living here. Like, it's very magical and ethereal, and it's like fairies and pixies and, you know, land of like, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of, if I had to compare it to anything, not that I've even been to Burning Man in the States, which is still quite amazing that I've never done that before, but it is like, I feel like it is like Burning Man here every single day. Like, anything goes. you know, a lot of people come here and they just transform they come here to heal, basically. Ubud actually means, in Balinese, it means healing. So people come here to heal from relationships, from working too hard, from just like the matrix, basically. So it's stepping out of the matrix and into something that's, for me, has been such a transformative time in my life. And I've been here 6 years. I came here on holiday. I came here on holiday with Morgan, actually. And, you know, I was like, how do I move here? Like, how do I stay here? It was just so magical. And it still is to this day. And yeah, 6 years later, I'm still here.
Wow. So what were you there to heal at the beginning?
Well, I come from a long line of being in the entertainment industry and the modeling industry. I was modeling since I was 16 years old. So I've been I was exposed at a very, very young age, and been in the limelight since I was very little. And on the cover of all the magazines and working for big designers overseas and just flying around all over the world, being an international model, and then studying acting, went into acting, shot a couple of movies, you know, did that whole Hollywood thing. Like I think I'm recovering. I came here because I'm literally had to recover from 25 years of that, of being in an industry that I love the craft of acting, and I loved the make-believe and the fantasy of modeling and being like this, you know, kind of I love the idea of stepping into characters, but unfortunately the people that are in the industry, I was exposed to like a lot of very unsavory things for a very long time, and so I had to leave, you know. And it kind of broke me in a way, like being around people that don't necessarily have your back, you know. So yeah, that's that.
Escaped. The old actress escapes to Bali. Coming soon. In 10 years, she will make her great triumphant return to the big screen. Starring at the Playades.
You never know. You never know. I actually love performance. I love, you know, like you say, I think you're quite similar to me. Like you love dressing up and you love being character and you love that whole theatrical world. And you know, that's what I did a theater degree in South Africa, and I've danced my whole life prior to my modeling career. So I was on the stage since I can remember, and I maybe it'll come a time where I create my own work or I collaborate with people here. There's so many amazing creatives on this island, but for right now, I think I just needed a long break, and I think I needed to heal myself from you know, from the many things that I picked up along the way, being constantly scrutinized and never feeling like good enough or thin enough or tall enough or whatever the case may be. It's like you have to be put into this mold, and I've been put into this mold since I'm little. And so for me, being here was like, how do I come and break out of this mold that has been kind of forced upon me for so long? And so it was such an expressive place, and so much art and so many unique people coming here from all over the world that are into dance and music and healing. And you know, the beautiful thing about like coming here was the first person that I met, that like at a little event that I went to. I'm so used to being in Hollywood where people like care, or they like, most people, it's all about money, how much, like, what do you do? How much money do you have? What car do you drive? And it's such a fake world. And like coming here, and the first person that I met, he looked at me and he said, "What is your passion?" And I was like, wow. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that. Like, it's not like what do you do? No one cares here, like what you do, what color your skin is, how rich you are, how poor you are. Like, it doesn't matter. It's like coming together and being, it's a really a felt sense of community here. And the dance for me was like, has been my biggest healing and my greatest healing, you know, because they have so much ecstatic dance here. And I've been getting into music, and I've taught myself during this lockdown how to DJ, and I've really been studying music a lot, and that is my passion. My passion is expression and dance and creativity and exploring those higher states of consciousness without drugs and alcohol. So yeah, it's a unique, it's such a fascinating place, Bali, isn't it? It's like so much spirituality here, like the way that the Balinese live and how many ceremonies they have every day, and the beautiful temples and the constant praying and the rituals that they have. You can really feel it on the island. You can really feel that. And now, since COVID has happened, I've been taking more time to be more integrated into Bali life and slowing down. And yeah, I guess with COVID, like things have really slowed down, you know, for a lot of us. And it's like, okay, so before I would just be so caught up in work, whereas now I like take my tea, I walk outside my house, I go into the street, I chat with the locals, I pray with the locals. I wasn't really doing that before, you know. It was just like full on work mode.
Yeah, you were. I think I caught you when I met you. You were on one of your burnout cycles, because you were working your butt off, like really hard, and you were doing and you can maybe touch on that a little bit about what you do as a designer, and then what I love about your brand and what you've stand for. It's so much more than just the jewelry or the product.
Yes.
It's about the sustainability, supporting the locals, etc.
For sure. So when I came here, like I said, I you know, thanks. I came here to heal, and I came here to explore not being a part of my old life, and to find parts of myself that to heal the parts of myself that I was struggling with. And along this journey, I discovered I'd always been making jewelry, you know, during my acting and my modeling career. I was always collecting stones. I've always been fascinated in gemology and like properties of stones and energy and frequency and all of that for a long time. I've been a yogi for also about 25 years now. So from a very young age, I was very attuned to the stones and to energy. So coming here and going on this healing journey and being introduced to all the amazing artisans on this island, it's kind of like a no-brainer. Like anyone who comes here, it kind of happens like that, you know. You just like, oh my gosh, this fabric, I want to create something. Or, oh wow, this wood maker is carving this thing, or this person is carving this thing. I mean, the artisans on this island are like so extraordinarily talented. It's a very unique skill what I found in this man, and it's kind of synonymous with Bali too. There's a lot of carvers here. And one day I met my driver, the man who was driving me from the airport. I kept on going South Africa and coming back, and South Africa coming back, selling my car, coming back, selling everything I had and coming back. And then my car, I met this man who was my driver, and he turned out to be this amazing carver, and he was showing me all these things. And I that's how it started, you know. And we just have this wonderful friendship, and he would show me these things, and I said, okay, can you do it like this? But I'm going to give you design. Will you be able to do that? And can you source this? And let's do this together. And so we just slowly, but surely, I've always loved angels too, which is part of the reason that I've created this particular collection. But my brand launched in South Africa a long time ago, maybe 2012, and I just started making a lot of gemstone bracelets. And when I got to Bali and I met Diwa, my carver, it just kicked off. Like I was seeing 1111 everywhere. At that stage, I was seeing it everywhere on my like receipts from a cafe. It would be like 111,000 rupiah, and then from seeing it on the clock constantly, I would see it. Then onto number plates, on the back of cars, and it was like this constant reminder that I'm on the right path, that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and that I'm doing exactly what I'm meant to be doing right now. And that was working with these local communities and with this family in particular. I now have a whole family working with me on this line, and from his brother to his cousin. It's really beautiful. And I that's what I've always wanted to do as a designer with regards to creating product. For me, it was much more than just creating beautiful things that are unique and special, but it's about really working with the local communities and the people that have given so much to us and allowed us to be here, because essentially we are guests here. You know, this is not our land, we are guests. And so I started creating, slowly but surely, this 1111 collection of hand-carved angel wings sourced from ethically and sustainably produced the shells of an abalone. So basically, the shell that houses the pearl. So in a pearl farm, they create these it's in a pearl farm, so nothing is taken from the ocean floor. They harvest these abalones for the pearl, they discard the shell, and then we take the discarded shell. So essentially we are taking the trash and carving beautiful items out of this. So that, for me, that made sense too, because I'm an ocean lover, and the last thing I want to be doing is destroying anything whilst creating. It's very important for me to make anything that I'm doing is to like how to do it sustainably, how to do it ethically, how to do it supporting the local communities. So yeah, that's basically, now we're shipping to 50 countries all over the world. And it's been amazing to watch people's story and how they've been touched by these wings and what they actually mean to them, what they symbolize for them. I've had so many emails where I'm like in tears reading their stories. It's been very touching, and at the same time it's been a lot of hard work, because as you know, being an entrepreneur is also like, whew, what a journey.
Yeah. I've
so,
seen you in sales, I've seen you in accounting, I've seen you in marketing, I've seen you do everything. I've never seen you carve. Have you ever actually carved any yourself?
No, but I have made quite a lot of pieces with my hands, but it's usually related to wire or to gemstones, malas, and things like that. So I do a lot of hands-on work for the samples. But I can't carve. So that's a skill. It's like being a sushi chef, like you study for like 8 years to be a sushi chef.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and a couple things.
I'm wearing them right now. I don't think you can see them.
So the brand is Lali Malu, Lalimalu, and the 1111 collection is sort of your signature collection. Is that still the case?
It is, and I'm adding some new pieces to the collection, and I'm also wanting to move into fine jewelry. I found an amazing goldsmith just down the road in a neighboring village who's been doing this for 35 years. And it's like these people they're masters at what they do, and yet they rely on people like us to get theirs to, it's like a win-win for all of us, because like I'm looking for somebody who can create very high quality pieces, and he needs me to get it out into the world, you know. So it's this beautiful relationship, and these people they're very spiritual people, you know, like they're the hearts of gold, and just deeply connected to like their work and to their families, and it's just really beautiful to watch. And this guy, he does everything by hand. This goldsmith, he doesn't even use, I don't know if you know much about producing jewelry, but he doesn't even use a mold or does casting. Every single thing is literally but with his fingers, like handmade, which is an ancient lost art. People don't do that anymore. They mass produce things in China, and you know. So I'm all about creating. I'm developing a fine jewelry line right now, but it's going to take some time, but finding the right people.
And finding the right people as part of that synchronicity, right? That are in flow, that believe in the same things as you. So when they look at their clock and they see 11:11 and it's always 11:11, you're there to remind them to replace their batteries.
No. Actually, time is completely man-made. So I think just keep it on 11:11. I was thinking about getting a tattoo, like just to remind me that it's actually always 11:11. Yeah, I don't know. Time is an interesting thing, right? I mean, it's completely man-made.
Yeah. I get younger every day.
Every single day.
Every day.
Yeah, yes. You definitely look younger the last time I saw you.
Thanks. Well, thank you. Speaking of sustainability, I just had a flashback to our trip to South Africa. So you and I flew from Qatar down to South Africa. You were doing a visa run, which basically means every 18 months or 2 years. What is it again? 6 months?
Well, visa runs. I'm now on a proper work, like a key task. So I have that. So now I don't really need to leave on visa runs anymore.
Okay. Because what was happening is all the expats were leaving Bali, flying out of the country, landing in Malaysia or Taipei, or in our case, South Africa. That's a long flight, by the way, from Bali to South Africa. Grab a map.
A long flight.
Just to reset your eligibility to be in the country. So you and I flew down to South Africa, and I ended up spending a month and a half down there. And you were seeing your mom and your dad, who are lovely people. They even put me up for a couple of days, which was super cool. And I remember we were in a drugstore together, and I don't know if you remember this, but you guys were buying vitamins or supplements or something, and I needed a new toothbrush holder, and it was a plastic 2-piece. Look at your eyes. See, it was a plastic 2-piece toothbrush holder, and you gave me shit for buying a toothbrush holder that was plastic, and I'm like, I need a new toothbrush holder. They're plastic items. What do you want me to do? That's how much you care about the oceans, right? I mean, that has to come from somewhere.
I you know, it's very sad to see here in Bali, because there's very little education now. More so, they're educating people more now, but it has just been, the plastic situation is so dire. And I recently watched Seaspiracy, and it's literally like, I was a vegetarian for a long time, and I started having a little bit of fish here and there. And when I watched Seaspiracy, I was like, I knew the situation was already bad, and I knew whales were being like washed up on the ocean, like on the shore, with hundreds of tons of plastic inside their bellies. But when I watched this, I just cried for like 3 days. I just thought, wow, like, what are we doing as a human race? Like, how are we? People have no idea what commercial fishing is doing to the ocean. And essentially, like, if all the whales and all the dolphins disappear, like, the food chain is completely messed up, and eventually we will disappear too. Like, it's not just about climate change here. Like, this is the commercial fishing industry is horrific. The human slavery, the animal slavery, all the whales and dolphins that are dying. you know, and I recently started diving, and which I can't believe it's taken me this long to do. And I went diving, and it was the most psychedelic experience of my entire life. And you know, because you're a big diver, but watching and seeing, going to Gili Air and seeing just dead coral,
gray,
dead.
Gray,
everything just gray. And you know what? It wasn't like that 10 years ago, probably even 5 years ago. And it's like, what are we doing on this planet? Like, what are we doing as a species to protect our marine life? Like, so I'm very passionate about it. And of course, seeing you buy that plastic thing, because I know exactly where it's going to end up, you know? And so we have to be more conscious about what everything from even toothpaste. Like, what do? We just buy refills. Like, they have a lot of, there's a lot of companies now that are doing seaweed packaging, and, you know, what else? There's cassava instead of plastic bags. Plastic bags are now banned in Bali, which is really great. But I think we have a long way to go in healing, especially our oceans. And you know, about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, like, where they just throw tons and tons of plastic into the ocean. So, you know, I love fish, but I will never eat it again. I can't. You know, now knowing what I know, I can't take part of that.
Well, and I remember I've seen that documentary as well. And oh boy, oh my, it was more than just the plastic. It was the destruction and devastation that these boats do from the ones that are dragging the bottom of the ocean.
The trawlers. Oh my God.
I'm like, are you like, and I'm an avid diver, as you said, and there's nothing more beautiful than being at the bottom of the ocean and seeing fish and coral and even shipwrecks and amazing things. And you're telling me it just gets wiped out in one swoop? And
it's just raping the ocean. It's like just taking everything. We're like, so as a human race, it's like we're so greedy. We're just taking everything.
Yeah, it's not, but
like,
the corporations to feed the people, the shark fin soup. I mean, but I go to Costco and I buy a 6-pack of tuna cans because I love tuna with mayonnaise and melted cheese on toast. I love it. I grew up eating it. And
I know, me too. And I guess, you know, there's a reason why we have also heavy metal toxicity. I'm dealing with a lot of heavy metals myself right now. And it's probably because of all the tuna I used to eat. And, you know, it's not clean anymore. And the thing is that if we were in a village, there's nothing wrong with fishing. If you're like, you know, somewhere in Africa, and it's like you go out in a canoe and you fish for your family, that's fine. But it's this commercial fishing that is like the human slavery. Plus just, for me, I love dolphins. Yeah. I just love dolphins so much.
Me too. Yeah.
So,
and some of the greatest moments of my life were in your home country in South Africa. I left you in Cape Town and drove up the coast, and I did the garden route all the way up to,
I know, I remember.
all the way to Alawal Shoal. And I did The Greatest Shoal on Earth, which is a documentary where billions and billions of sardines come into Port St. John, which is what do you call that? The Upper East Cape? What would that garden route? Wild Coast.
Yeah, Wild Coast.
Yeah.
Yes. Neisner.
You're right. So it's an incredible phenomenon. Billions and billions of sardines go or feed or whatever. Well, it attracts so many dolphins. You have never been able to imagine this many dolphins in one place, where every single place you're looking out into the horizon, you are going to see dolphins somewhere, because they're there to feed. And then it brings the birds are diving in, and then it brings the sharks, and it brings the seals. And I got to snorkel with a humpback whale. I got to swim with thousands of dolphins. I mean, South Africa is just, it stole my heart, you know?
It is. It's absolutely gorgeous. I've never, I don't know if you've also watched My Octopus Teacher, but most people have now on Netflix.
Yeah. Awesome.
And it was also just a beautiful, wow, what an astonishing documentary that he made. And realizing that that is my heritage. That's where I grew up, you know, and I never went snorkeling in those waters, A, because I am terrified of sharks, and B, because it was so freezing cold, you know. The Atlantic Ocean is like, it like does something to your brain, brain freeze. But it's extraordinary country, and I really hope that I can do something more for the oceans rather than sit here and just talk about it. Like I feel quite, I need to do something about it. And yeah. I think something needs to be done. We need to do something. I think if everybody stopped eating fish, at least that would be a start, you know?
Would it ever?
Yeah.
But hearing there's I didn't know there was a plastic bag ban in Bali. When I left there oh my God, November 2019, they were talking about it. It was coming. So I'm glad to hear that they've gone through with it, you know? Is it better? Is it actually better? Would you say? I mean, there's less tourists, so it must be better.
There's a lot less tourists. So I think this COVID and this pandemic has kind of been really good for the environment, you know. There's a lot less pollution. People are being educated more about not throwing their trash into the beautiful rivers that are here. You know, it is much better. It's completely banned on this island, plastic bags. And people are, you know, we're buying bamboo toothbrushes, and, you know, we're really doing, I mean, even me, when I send stuff overseas, I don't use bubble wrap anymore. You know, we use a special paper bubble wrap, and I'm looking at ways to constantly improve my packaging so it's a minimal carbon footprint on the earth, and ways that we can get the product to you safely without actually, you know, filling it with tons of bubble wrap, which is just like, it doesn't biodegrade. So you know, the people are definitely waking up, and it's it's happening.
And I appreciate, and you've always done your part, you know, from the first minute I met you. I knew there was something special about you. You were trying, and I don't know that I've carried those habits through the last 3 years. I can't say I'm any better today than I was 3 years ago. I have more awareness. Unfortunately, I live in a country where it's easy to make excuses. When I go to Costco and buy a 6-pack of anything, it's wrapped in something. You know, so I'm certainly a consumer who can do a lot better.
You're aware, and that's the first thing. And then you can make with that awareness, you can now start making better choices, you know. And it's just everything from plastic wrapped stuff. You could probably go to co-ops and, like, you know, support local farmers and start using brown bags and get your vegetables like organically. And there's just many ways that you can do that, you know. And that's, Costco is probably not the most eco-friendly place on this earth.
That's polite and probably accurate. Yes. Yeah.
So no how is the situation there right now? What's happening in Canada? Like I can't like my experience during this time. Bali hasn't had any lockdowns at all, so I'm curious to see what has it been for you there? What has it been like?
It's been poorly managed, shoddy information. There's mini revolutions that don't really go anywhere as far as they should. A lot of division has been happening in between families and in between couples and in between workplaces. Small businesses are getting hammered. We have lockdowns and then we don't. We're only supposed to see a certain amount of people, and then it increases, and then we get a spike in cases and it goes back down. It's been a total shit show. It's been poorly. To think that I'm still wearing a mask inside anywhere. We're only today. Oh, look at that. Electric Venus. There she is.
I mean, if you're gonna wear a mask, you might as well wear one like this.
Wow. That is something. I'm gonna try hard not to think about that image later.
No, It's it's like Studio 64 on crack.
Well, when I think back to our ecstatic dance night and us dressing up, and I had those really cool glasses and you had those yellow glasses and we had the wigs on, masks. All we were missing that night was masks.
I know. Right? I've been creating some pretty futuristic ones just for fun, you know, not that I want to support the pandemic. We have to wear them still here. It's annoying. Yeah. But I just thought, well, you know, we might as well have fun with it if we're gonna have to do it for a little bit. So I started making some pieces in silk and in linen, which are super breathable. And I'm launching. It's another label that I started called LMS, which is my initials of my name. Yeah. So that's on Instagram. I've literally just started it a few months ago, but yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun to create those. But yeah, it's like, I did some black ones, you know.
Oh, look at that. Can you send me some?
I can. You want?
Yeah, I do. Like? I want to wear that.
Okay. You would wear it? I actually made some. I'm doing these things where I plant dye silk with avocado seed. So all the silk that I create or materials, I'm using plant dyes. So nothing is harmful to, you know, the rivers or anything, any byproducts like that go into that are chemical and damaging for the earth. So avocado seed, it's pretty cool. I dyed this with avocado seed and it comes out rose gold. So it's fun.
And when I was with you, you had discovered pineapple leather.
Yeah, so pineapple leather. Yeah. So I started doing a collection of bags. I think as a designer, I just keep creating so much, and I have all these different designs, and yet they're not really out in the world. I'm still exploring ways to make them. But pineapple leather is I made this bag, that is actually pineapple leather. Exactly what it looks like once it's been treated with a little bit of color, and it's pretty amazing. Like to know that is actually just made from a pineapple.
Save a cow.
Save a cow. No need to kill animals. Like no need really.
No, eat the pineapple and make a purse. Done. Sustainable.
Yeah, I know, right? I think Karl Lagerfeld just came out with a cactus leather range of handbags. So he's like probably the first to get onto that train in the mainstream. So you know, who knows where this will go? But pineapple leather is very cool. Mushroom leather too. Mushroom leather is a good one.
Do some mushrooms and build yourself a purse. Perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
There's been a bunch of alien sightings in the US. Did you know this? The aliens are here.
Yes, I've actually seen something. My partner showed it to me a few days ago. He said, "Oh, look, it's Area 69, or what is it called again? The Area 69."
That's probably what he told you. Yeah, but that's not it. No. That's super.
And but he was like, "Oh, look, they've, you know," I thought it was hilarious because, you know, UFOs have been around forever, okay? And like only now with this whole COVID situation, the whole world is panicking and freaking the fuck out, like just panicking. And literally they're like, "Oh, by the way, UFOs are real." Like slip that in there, just, you know, casually on CNN, just while everyone else is freaking out about the COVID situation. Yeah. Nobody even realized, oh, they just told us UFOs are real. And it was like a perfect time because they seemed distracted by COVID. So it's not going to be such a big deal. But we all know that UFOs and aliens are real. It's just that they've just been kind of lying to us or not telling us, you know, for centuries, right?
Well, and you're from the planet Pleiades. So
yeah, Pleiades.
Pleiades, did I say that wrong?
Yeah.
I've heard you. Can you speak in Pleiadian for me, please? So So when your healing journey is over and your spaceship from Pleiades comes down, what are you going to tell them about Earth? What are you going to tell them you learned?
I'm out of here, folks. My time here is done. Well, you know, I feel like Pleiadian people like come to Earth. They're light workers, right? They're the light bringers. They teach people or humans about love and about how to be in their hearts. And so, yeah, hopefully I brought that, and I'll just be, when I'm done, I'll be like, yeah, thanks for listening. Bye, I'm out of here.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, leave your plastic toothbrush holders there. I'm going back.
Yeah, so make sure you are kind to this planet. Make sure that you leave as little carbon footprint as you can, and that's really it, actually, at the end of the day.
Just curious about your spiritual journey. Like, to me, you're very spiritual in general terms. It's a weird thing to call someone spiritual, but you're just spiritual. I'm spiritual now. But do you remember a moment when you tapped into your higher self for the first time? Or were you down in the dumps and in Hollywood in a basement somewhere going, get me out of here? Like tell me about your enlightenment journey, if you will.
Well, it happened I've been doing yoga for a very, very long time, before I discovered Kundalini yoga, but I was in a really dark place in Hollywood, California, probably about 10 years ago, and I was going through a breakup with a big celebrity guy that was my fiance, actually. And so I was going through that, and I just was having a really hard time figuring out, like, why am I there and what am I doing there? And, I discovered Kundalini, and I had probably the most powerful awakening that I've ever experienced, kind of like an ecstasy, but like an ecstasy times 500,000, go through my body in one meditation one day. And I think it just opened me up. I became like a channel of going from then on. Everything changed. It was like you can be spiritual. It doesn't matter about like how many ayahuasca sessions you've done, or like how much you pray, or what food you eat. Actually, at the end of the day, it's like how are you with people? Like, how do you execute your daily life and affairs with, like, how do you speak to the waiter? How kind are you? Like, that's being spiritual to me. It's not like how many yantras you say in the morning, or what you're chanting, or like how many malas you have. It's like, how do you show up for your life and for the people in your life, and for those for those around you? It's just really, that for me is like really means like to be spiritual. It's like, what are you doing in your, how do you show up for people? So yeah, I had a massive awakening about 10 years ago in this temple, and yeah, I've kind of never been the same since. I just have like deeper meditations. I've discovered Joe Dispenza's meditations recently, and they are like, wow. I mean, that guy, he's not from here. Like, he is a proper alien. I discovered celery juice recently, which also changed my life. I love the medical mediums work. I love Joe Dispenza. These are all tools that help me on my journey as just being human. Because, like, sure, I'm an alien, but like in this life, I'm human right now on this planet. So I'm doing human things and having human struggles. And so, just keep it if there was anything like right now, if you are struggling and you do hear this and you are like going through a lot of changes, it's change is good, you know, and growth comes from that. And it's to be in a dark place, you know, you have to go through I had to go through that dark place to experience the lightness of my being. And I have tools to help me with anxiety, with fear, with all the human emotions that one does experience, especially now with all this up and down, and we're not sure, and what is happening in the world, and will it ever be the same again? I mean, there's a lot of collective fear, I would say. And so as an empath too, trying not to absorb everyone's collective anxiety and fear. And breath work has been also a phenomenal tool for me. I love I'll send you a link to the Awakening guys. They're called O2 Awakening, and I met them in Bali, and just so bright. So their auras were like, wow, I've never seen someone so bright. I mean, and it's breath work, you know, and it's they're amazing teachers. So I'll send that link to you. But yeah, it's been a journey. I've gone through. I've been up and down and to the pits of hell and back again. And I think most deeply spiritual people have to go through that. You know, have to go through that turmoil and that darkness to come out and be the light workers and be teachers and you know, show people the way, I guess.
I love that, you know, and as I said, you know, a couple of times already on the show, I'd never even heard the term light worker in my life. And then someone called me a light worker in Nepal, which was after I'd met you and moved on from Bali. I'm like, whoa, what is this thing? This sounds not like me. This sounds like my sister. This doesn't sound like me, you know? And when you think about it in such simple terms, like you just said it, be nice to the waiter, you know, listen to people, take care of the oceans, make better choices. What else can you do? Right?
I guess, right? It's really that simple. And yeah, it's really that simple. Help others where you can. I mean, I guess we've become very self-obsessed, and as just a general, you know, we're very consumed with what we're doing. And I think like service, which is what you do a lot of, and I've always admired you and been inspired by your acts of service, because you've been involved in that, and you know that's one thing that makes you feel like you have purpose and fulfillment, and you find a lot of joy in being of service. And it's yeah, right?
Yeah, that's true. And when I'm disconnected from that, I feel dirty, I feel off, I feel imbalanced. You know, there's when humans are at their best, the three things are in alignment. You know, their mind, their body, their soul. Their physical, their mental, their spiritual, whatever you want to call it. And I had quite a few years where I just felt imbalanced. Something wasn't right. I was self-medicating through drugs and alcohol. Relationship traumas were coming back up. I wasn't dealing with those. And I had no sense of spirituality at all. And thus, I lacked purpose, and I found myself not in service to the best of my ability. And it took me running away. It took me literally just getting out of Dodge, forgetting about money for a while,
Yeah,
by myself, and
you know, drinking like all those things, they're just going to put a plaster over that trauma. So eventually you're going to have to deal with it at some stage. It's going to bite you in the butt, should I say.
Yeah.
But you know, it's challenging to face those things head on, you know, and it's admirable and it's brave and it's bold, and it's like people spend their whole lives just medicating and drinking and smoking weed and all these things, and it's like, sure, that's fine, but you're just numbing yourself to what's really available for you here on this planet, you know. And so it's much harder to be sober, trust me. I mean, it's much harder. But it feels like the only way, right? It feels like the only way.
Only way to
for
what?
me, anyway.
So
Huh?
only way to what?
Well, the only way that I can really be present for my life, that I can like show up to all the uncomfortable, like any traumas or anything that I have in my life. If I was self-medicating with alcohol and weed, for example, like I wouldn't be able to be present, or I wouldn't be able to heal those things because I would just be masking it constantly, like just masking the pain. And so it is much harder to be sober. And now I have been drunk in, I don't know, 2 years or something, but it feels like it feels like the right choice for me, you know, to show up for myself.
Yeah, and your best chance to live your best life, your best chance to be in service, to tap into your higher self, you know, to have all those chakras in alignment, to, you know,
Chakras and shit.
to make all those chakras and shit. I got the name right, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. You did. You did. You definitely did.
You know what's funny about that is I had bought this book, the Book of Chakras, right? And how do you spell chakra? It starts with a C. I went and bought the domain for my podcast and started doing all my marketing, and I was spelling chakras with an S and went chakras and shit. It looks good together. And then my very first episode, I pull out this book and I looked at it and I noticed the C for the first time and went, oh my God, I spelt it wrong. And now it's just like, I tell people, it's just a marketing thing, chakras and shit with an S. But just, I wasn't very observant.
Well, it's nice. It's got like a ring to it, you know, because it's like, yeah, it's chakras. It's it's got a ring to it. I think leave it that way.
It works. It fits.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you
what
get
is on your shirt? What is that?
Oh, it's some douchey shirt I bought in Palm Springs. It says like London number 23. I was looking for something colorful because I had a funny feeling you might be colorful today. And I'm in my sister's place and I've got this picture behind me and I wanted something colorful. And I looked at this and went, perfect. A douchey Palm Springs like shirt I might never wear again. I thought you might notice it.
Gosh, you're hilarious. You're hilarious.
You're hilarious too. I want to just kind of tell you one of my favorite moments with you. So we were on the plane from Qatar down to South Africa, and we were sitting together and you were in the window seat and I was on the aisle seat. And do you remember what you did when you had to go to the bathroom or you had to go get up?
I jump over people. Like
yeah.
You can't really, it doesn't really, I don't think those who are listening will really understand because you've got the mental picture of how I was jumping over people.
Yeah. Describe your jump. Describe your airplane jump. Yeah.
Like from my seat, jumping over 3 people.
Yeah.
Well, I think because, okay, firstly, I'm a dancer, so I'm very agile, so I can basically like a gymnast, right? So yeah. I can jump over 3 people in a row on an airplane, and I've done this throughout my travels, and people's faces like, because you don't want to wake people up. Like, why would you want to wake people up? It's just much easier this way. Then no one has to like wake up and move or like scoot, or it's just not comfortable. So I push myself up onto my seat, basically on my haunches, like I'm pushed up, right? And then I just like a springbuck. You know what a springbuck is? Like a buck.
Do, yeah.
Okay. I just
antelope, basically. Yeah.
Like I shoot my legs out to the right, like a buck, and then jump. And put my hands onto the first seat and so basically like push up on my haunches and shoot my legs out, and at the same time I grab onto the side of the first person, and I can literally do like a like long jump.
Yeah.
Or high jump. I used to do high jump too. So I basically high jump over 3 passengers at once, and it's very effective if you need to go to the bathroom without just.
It's a vision I will always have. I've got a Guess Jeans model flying over me on an airplane on the way to her homeland. My first trip to Africa.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
so good.
It's handy. It's very handy being flexible, must say.
Nice.
I can also like fold up into a full ball. Like I can put my legs onto the tray table and sleep literally curled up in a very strange position. It's not the most comfortable, but it helps being super flexy. Yeah.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
anything else coming up for you, Lisa? Anything on your mind right now?
No, not particularly. I haven't. I think we covered covered a lot of different things. Yeah, I just wanted to speak about the Seaspiracy and how. Yeah, I'm hoping that everyone watches that because, yeah, hoping that everyone watches that to see what we're really doing to this planet. And don't take the vaccination. Whatever you do, don't take the vaccination. Have you taken it?
I've had one shot 2 weeks ago from Moderna. I have to because of a medical thing. I have to.
Really?
Yeah. No effects. It was sore for 3 days. I'm fine.
No effects.
I was very resistant. Trust me. I was but not resistant enough to not take it. In the end, I complied, but it's for the doctors. So.
You feel okay?
I feel like I'm floating on air. Yeah. And my brain takes me to the planet Pleiades every once in a while. And I see super weird colors and strange people dancing around me. And they're talking to themselves in these weird Aquarius masks.
Oh, wait.
There it is. That is so you.
There are like 150, no, maybe more, 200 Swarovskis on this mask.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's a $900 mask.
A $900 mask. That's spectacular.
You have to actually see in the light. Oh, you can't really.
There it is. That is it right there. Wow. You look amazing. You make me want to go to Vegas.
Oh yeah? I've never been to Vegas.
How have you never been to Vegas?
I don't know. I probably would have gambled like all my money away. It's terrible. I'd stay away from all that stuff because I would just be so addicted to gambling. I'd have to not. I don't know why I've never been to Vegas. Why haven't I been to Vegas? I've been everywhere else.
Yeah.
Just not Vegas.
Imagine your life, how different it would be if instead of going to Bali to heal, you went to Vegas to heal.
Yeah, how does that work?
I don't know. I don't think it works.
No.
Yeah. Well, this has been so much fun. I just love you. It's so great to catch up.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And you're known as the Electric Venus, Lima Love, Lima, Lisa Lalimalu.
Lalimalu, Lima Love, Lisa M. I've got quite a few different characters. I think I might change my name to Violet though. I'm kind of over Lima. Might change it to Violet.
Violet? What's that about?
I don't know. I'm just channeling just some new information. I'm not really sure.
I'm going to be Brutus.
Brutus. Why Brutus?
Let me get this right. Brutus Pineapple Head. I channeled it. That's my new name. I'm now Brutus Pineapple Head, and I speak in this voice from now on.
Wow, you are quite amazing, Brutus Pineapple Head.
Thank you, Violet.
Yes. We're so weird.
We're so weird. You're the weirder younger sister that I never have, I guess. You know.
That's true.
My sister's weird, and you're just a little weirder, but very endearing. And one more thing while we're bantering, Joanna called you out on her episode and said that we're going to do a cacao ceremony and she's going to host it from Ibiza. If you'd be willing to DJ.
I would love that.
Yeah?
I would love that. How would we do that? How does that work even?
Somehow we would set you up with sound. I just got to trust that you're going to figure that part out. She's going to she'll set up the cacao ceremony in Ibiza, and then I'll have a group of people where I am. And she said, we'll do it for the 25th episode. And I think this is episode, I don't know, 19 or 18 or something. She said, let's do it. Let's
do it. I will play for you guys, and then you can just have some cacao where you are and have somebody facilitated where you are, right?
Yeah, I've got the person. Her name is Shannon. Her name's Queen Namaste is her name. Queen
wow.
Namaste.
Very royal. Well, you'll have to make sure you have some really good sound and some good speakers and some potent cacao, and then we can do it.
Love it. Okay, I'm booking you. It's
okay.
Amazing. Thank you for being my guest. Season 2. We just kicked off Shakras and Shit season 2. And my dear friend, I'm glad to have you aboard. Thank you for being a light in an otherwise dark world. You opened my mind to spirituality, taught me about 1111s when I didn't know I wanted to learn about them. And you've just been a good friend and a guiding light for me ever since we met. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Lots of love to you and everyone where you are in Canada. Hopefully we can travel soon and the world will be open up and we'll be able to visit. I would love to come to Canada one of these days.
You're welcome. I've slept at your parents' house. Now you got to sleep at my parents' house.
That's weird. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Good to see you.
Have a great evening or day. It's evening your time, right?
It's 9:38. It's time for bed.
Okay. Well, have a wonderful sleep. Bye.
Bye.